Hi, welcome back to Therapy Designs. If you're new to this channel, my name is Kelly, and this channel is all about creating print-on-demand designs using Canva. So if that is something that you're interested in, please hit like and subscribe and stick around. So in today's video, I want to show you how to create this design right here. Pretty easy design to make, but what I really want to talk about is how you can scale this out and literally make hundreds of designs once you get a template. So if you are interested in learning about this, go ahead and stick around. So here we are on Canva's homepage. We will be creating a t-shirt design today. So as usual, I'm going to go ahead and select a custom size. So you can either come over here where it says create a design and click there, or you can come over here and it'll say custom size and you can click that way too. So either of those are going to give you your blank page. I'm going to click here, and then for width and height, I am looking for 4,500 by 5,400 pixels. I've got it saved because I use it a lot, so I'm just going to click that, and that should open up a new page for you. And so I've got my blank page right here. As always, I do prefer to design for the darker colors, as those will tend to sell the best. So I usually just optimize my designs for black most of the time. So I'm going to go ahead, click on this, and I'm going to go right here to our background color, and I'm going to select black for my background color. And now for this design, I am going to be creating a Thanksgiving design, but this can be scaled out tremendously, not just for Thanksgiving, but for other holidays. And so what I am talking about is one that has to do with professions, particularly medical professions. And for this design, particularly physical therapy, since I'm a physical therapist, it just makes sense. So I'm going to have one that just, it's got the PT, and it is going to say thankful to be a physical therapist. But obviously you could do it with like RN and have it say thankful to be a registered nurse, or with OT and have it say thankful to be an occupational therapist, or anything else. So you can be as creative as this as you want. Obviously you can scale it out tremendously amongst the professions, and then you can also take the same concept and scale it out amongst the different holidays too. So lots of ways that you can turn this one idea into hundreds of designs. And so keeping it simple, we are going to start with the PT at the top. We're going to start with some text. So I'm going to hit T on my keyboard. That will pull up a text box. And for this one, I'm just going to put P and T. And so pretty simple there. I'm going to make it big. It is going to come across in the top here. I'm going to have some different graphics in here, but let's just start with the text boxes. So there's the first one. I'm going to hit T again, next text box. Make that a little bit bigger. And this one is going to say thankful to be a, and so that is line one, thankful to be a, and again, this can be anything you want, but I'm going to hit T again, next text box, and this one is going to say physical therapist. So there we go, thankful to be a physical therapist. And so that is what we are starting with. Now, I also want to go ahead and pick some good fonts here too. Because these are both kind of longer phrases, I want the fonts to be pretty narrow. That way I can make them pretty big. If they're too wide, then the writing looks too small. You can't see it as well. If it's nice and narrow, then you can see it a lot better. So I'm going to start with thankful, come up to where you see font. Now you can do a search here for narrow if you're looking for narrow fonts. So if I just went narrow, it's going to show me a lot of different narrow fonts, and you can spend your time looking through these. If you happen to know the one that you want, you can always just type in the name. I did spend quite a bit of time looking at the different fonts to come up with what I liked. And for the top line, I decided on one called Bryce Bold Condensed. So let's see if I can find it. There it is, Bryce Bold Condensed. And I'm thinking I might go ahead and make that capital. So if I want them all to be capitals, I can go over here where you see this three little dot thing says see more. If I click that and I find the big A and the little a, I click that, it's going to make everything capitalized. And so that is one way that I can just make it all nice and capitalized from the beginning. And so I think that that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to do the same thing here, physical therapist. I'm going to select a font for that. Again, I wanted something narrow, but maybe something different, maybe a different font, because I didn't necessarily want them to be the same font here. So I went ahead, and the next one that I found after looking for a while in the narrow section was, let's see, it was myriad condensed. So right here, myriad condensed. And I also decided to go ahead and make that uppercase. So we'll make those all capitals too. Now for this, I can also make it bold. So when you've got the bold here, I can do that. That's going to make it look a little bit more in line with that one, so it's not too thin. And so I'm liking the way that that looks. And then for the PT here, this I want to be big, this I want to be bold. Again, you can pick anything you want. If you wanted to do a search for bold, you could do it that way. And then just start going through the different bold fonts to try to find something that you like. So even something simple like that, it depends whether or not you want to give it a little bit more sort of that sort of flair there. And you can see the different styles, obviously, for PT. I went relatively simple, and the one I ended up going with was one called, it was a CS, there's a lot of CS, it was CS Gordon. Serif, there it was. So something like that is nice and big, like that. Now I am going to need to have this spaced apart a little bit, because what I want to do is put the little medical symbol inside in the middle there. So I'm going to actually start by moving these down quite a bit. That way I know I've got space to work. It's always easier to design smaller in the page and then go ahead and when it's all done, make it bigger than to design too big and run out of space for everything. So when in doubt, give yourself as much space as you can, and then you can work from there. So let's go ahead, find some graphics here. Obviously the first one I want is sort of just that little medical symbol. So I'm going to go over to the side where you see elements. And if I just did a search for medical, you will see right there, that symbol right there is what I'm looking for. So I can go graphics, and you can pick whichever one of those looks good. And so you can look through a few. So I kind of like that one, looks kind of cool. I am looking for something solid. So there's a lot of different versions. I do think I like this one here quite a bit. So let's see. Let me make that a nice light color to start with. That way, oops, I can kind of see what I'm working with. And so there is an example. That one's okay. It gets a little kind of too clumped together at the bottom, so I might keep looking for one that I like better, but you can see the basic design style I'm going with. So there is one. Here is another one. Let's see if I can get this one pulled up. Oops. Now this one I can't see because it's black, so if I was to change my background color here on the page to something a little bit lighter, now you can see it. So that is one where I could change the color by doing a duotone effect, but I don't really like this one. It's not solid. It's really close to what I like, but I do wish it was solid, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that one. Keep looking. It may take a second for you to find one that works best for you, so always take your time. After searching for a while, I decided I'm just going to go with this one right here. I thought that that was a good choice, so I went ahead and centered it in my page, and so now you can see how the PT is on either side. If your spacing isn't perfect for the P and the T, no worries. You can go up to right here where it has the up and down arrows, hit spacing, and here you can move your letter spacing closer or further so that it spaces perfectly there. Make sure everything looks nice and centered in your page. And so you can already see the way that this is going, and I like that pretty well. Again, I can move everything down. I can make everything bigger or smaller. So let's go ahead and just start with that. Next, I wanted to add some Thanksgiving stuff to this. And so when I'm not sure what I want, I'll just start with a broad search. So I would just start with a search that says Thanksgiving and see if there's anything in there that I like or that I want to use. And if I find something I like, then I can do a more specific search. So let's say I looked through everything and I decided, wow, I really want to add a pumpkin. Then I might do a specific search for a pumpkin to see all of those. Or, ooh, I really think I might like fall flower, like leaves. Then I might do a search for fall leaves. But when I'm not quite sure what I want, I'll always start with a big broad search for something like Thanksgiving, see what comes up and kind of get some ideas off of that. And so you look for Thanksgiving, the very first thing that came out is this little turkey that's got its head poking out. And I liked that. And I thought, oh man, what can I do with that? Because that's actually really cute. And I thought, well, let's go ahead. Let's take this little turkey here because I thought he was really cute. And I bet I can make him nice and small and make him look like he's popping out from the side of the T here. Something like that. I'm going to go ahead and send that to the back. And then I can use the arrows on my keyboard to move him over 1 pixel at a time until he lines up perfectly with the edge of that T. And now it looks like he's kind of poking out from behind the T, and I think that that looks pretty cute. So I can always make him a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller depending on what I like. But I think that that is pretty adorable. And since I did like that turkey and I see, oh look, they've got some other turkeys here, I can go to the magic recommendations and see if they have other matching turkeys. So like here's another matching turkey. That one looks really cute. I might be able to use that one on the other side. So if I was to do maybe something like this on the other side, that might look kind of cute. And see if I've got any other options. Here's another one that looks pretty similar, but the different colors in the feathers there. And again, this is giving me all sorts of cute ideas. Not too into that style, but again, you can use any style you want. But I did think that that was an adorable turkey. Oh, look, here's another one. Those two look the same. So that's cute. This time he's not waving, but I do think he looks pretty adorable there. I might use this one instead, and what I might do is actually flip him around. So if I take him and I go up to flip, and I flipped horizontally, now I can have him facing in just like that one's kind of facing in, so that the feathers are pointing out on either side. I want to make sure that the turkeys are close to the same size, and they are pretty close. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick this turkey maybe right here, something like that. And so that is kind of cute right there. I like that. I could, you know, move them out a little bit if I wanted to. I can move them down a little bit. They don't have to be in the same spot per se. And so I can always sort of play with where these are sitting. So something like that looks kind of cute there. And then I'll go back to my search and look for some other things Thanksgiving-y that might look good. I think I might want to put like a little, like almost pilgrim kind of hat on top of the P. So maybe I look for Thanksgiving hat and see what comes up. And here I've got a bunch of, look at that, Thanksgiving hats coming up that are really cool. And I can try out a bunch of ones. Ideally, I'm looking for one that's going to allow me to change the color. I haven't picked any colors yet, but I do want eventually to get all of these colors matching. So the more I'm able to select colors, the better. So here's one, for example, that will let me change those colors. And it's a little flat one there. So if I was to do something like, you can kind of see what I'm thinking of here. It would be something like that. I'm not sure I like that one so much. It looks a little too wide. Usually I think of the hats and they're a little bit taller like that, or like that one. So let's see, here's another one. This one's not going to let me change the colors though. So I'm just going to play around and try to find a hat that I think is going to work best for this design. All right, so after looking for a while, I came up with these. So I got some fall leaves here, a couple random ones here, and then I did this. To find this one, I looked for fall leaves, but then I looked for border or border edge, and that'll give you some really cool border edges. So whenever you're trying to find something like that, that's like a little bottom flourish, so I put fall leaf border edge, and I came up with that. The cool thing about everything that I picked, other than the turkeys, is everything will allow me to change the color. So from this point forward, what I can do is start picking the colors and doing some cool matching colors. Now, because the turkeys are the only things that will not let me change the colors, I'm thinking about using some of the colors from the turkeys themselves and going that way. So to start with, I'm thinking I like the lighter edges of the turkeys, and so that might be one of my light colors. I'm going to go ahead and change the background color back to black here so that I can see everything pop a little bit better. So let's start with the middle piece right here. So I'm going to change the color, and I'm going to use my little eyedrop feature, and I'm going to pick that sort of light color right off of the turkey's feathers there. And so I like that. I'm thinking I'm going to do the same color here. And so now I just sort of play with where I want those colors to be. So something like that looks pretty cool. I might go ahead then and make this one that slightly darker shade, which would be something a little bit more like that, is going to be that darker shade. Again, if I'm not sure, I can get my little eyedropper feature and make sure I get the right colors there by doing that. And so that looks pretty cool like that. This one, the red is a little dark for me, and this one, the brown, maybe a little bit darker. I am looking maybe for a kind of redder brown for the PT. It can't be either of these browns because the turkey would blend right in. So I do need something maybe even a little closer to the hat brown for these. So here's where I might have to play a little bit and see sort of what's going to look best. So why don't I go ahead and start with the PT, and let's see if I can come up with some colors that may look good here. And I'm going to play with it. So I'm thinking something a little lighter, maybe a little orangier, something, yeah, of course, I could even make it a little bit more of this color and make this a little bit lighter here. I'm liking the way that that looks though. It does look pretty nice, of course. Playing with that a little bit. I do want it to be a little bit darker than that. So I might need, again, to keep playing with the colors. At this point, it's all playing because I'm looking for shades that are a little darker, a little deeper, but are still gonna pop pretty well. I mean, that'll work right there pretty well. I might take this brown here. I'm thinking of making this brown lighter. Maybe I'll make it the same shade as the darker part of the turkey. So his wing, maybe. That looks pretty good. Yeah. Maybe a little bit lighter. What do I got? And then maybe that red part, I want that to be a darker brown. Maybe something like that. The gold, I'm thinking I might want to match the beaks here of the turkeys. So, for example, there's the beak there. I can do the same thing here where I can take that yellow and I can make it the beak yellow. If that's a little too bright, I can, play with it a little bit there too. And here is my beak yellow. I guess that's pretty good. This leaf right here, if I can grab hold of it, that is just way too dark. So I am needing that to be something a little bit lighter. Maybe something in the range of that is a little bit lighter there. And as you can see, we are just essentially playing. Love to play with these things. Maybe. So I did play with this for a little bit longer than I should have. I always spend way too much time playing because, hey, it's fun. You better enjoy your designing if you're going to do it. So I came up with this. The cool thing is once you have spent the time and you have the colors, then it becomes easy to scale out because then you can just reuse those colors and change the words. So I always spend a lot more time on my original template, and then from there, scaling out becomes very easy. So I did like these colors. They do pop on the dark shirt. Typically, again, people are going to pick the darker colors. So whether or not it's black or really dark heather gray, sometimes the navy blue, possibly a dark brown for Thanksgiving, but usually the darker colors. And so this does pop really well on a dark color. I can even check it out on a white and see if it's dark enough font that it would still pop on a white, and it actually would. So I could use this actually on a white shirt or on a black shirt, which makes it nice and versatile. So I like that. And again, from this point forward, I could scale this out as much as I like. And to do this for other holidays, you would use a similar thing instead of, like for Christmas, thankful to be a physical therapist, it could say like One Jolly Physical Therapist and just change the colors around, change a little bit of the decoration to make it Christmassy, and there you go. Now you've got a Christmas one. And again, you could then scale that out for all the different professions. So you really could make a ton of designs out of just one kind of template once you get a good idea. And so that's how you're going to fill up, if you're on Amazon merch, 200,000 slots, is you have to have a lot of scaled out designs, a lot of versions of the same designs, and you have to be covering a ton of niches. So if you're just starting, you know, sometimes it becomes difficult to think of ideas, but then once you start thinking of them and you realize how much you can scale them out, there really is no limit to how many designs you can make and how many different styles you can do for each niche. So I hope this gave you some good creative ideas. If you have any questions about this, drop it in the comments section below. I try to get back to everybody as quickly as I can. And if you have any requests for videos, you can put that in the comments section below as well. And I'll see if I can get you added to my list. I hope you guys are doing really well with your designs. I'm hoping for a great Q4 for everybody, and I do hope to see you guys again. That's it for today's video. If you found that useful and would like to see more videos with helpful tips and tricks, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the weekly videos. As always, keep growing and stay creative, and we'll see you next time.